today we're very fortunate because I'm here and I'm honored to be sharing the stage with some, seriously brilliant minds that are shaping the world of no-code, AI, and automation with their communities. And so without further ado, let me introduce you to Max Haining from 100 School. Woo! We love Max. Andy Claremont from Glide. And Stan Verjus from No-Code France. I've been practicing my French, so please say it right. And I'm Claudia, community specialist at Zapier, and we'll just be talking about what we love the most, which is community, and hopefully you'll get some really interesting perspectives from these experts here. I was fortunate and lucky to work with all of them, so I can vouch for their professionality and just yeah, I'm very excited about it. But we want for you to also engage with us because it's community, so let's get started. Because I'm getting old, I'm going to pull up my questions, but I actually know the first one. So we heard the term community-led being thrown around quite a lot. And for you guys as well, as community members, you must have heard that too. So I would like to kick things off with you, Andy. As head of community and ecosystem at Glide, You've got quite an extensive experience running forums, communities, and you know what makes a community tick. So what is community-led, how does it work, and how do you use it?
Oh boy, is this on? Great, all right. The question of what community is really varies depending on who you ask. I have my own little definition. To me, community is a persistent, connected group of people who have something in common. And when we talk about something being community-led, it's about that community being the driving force behind something. Now that could be, so at Glide, we have our gliders, our users, we have our Glide experts who are partners building Glide apps for others, no-code ops, a community of no-code operators, professionals building no-code solutions. And when we think about what growth means in those contexts, it's that these members, these individuals, these people are the ones that allow the things that we're doing, the things that we're building, to pick up momentum. Because it's through the work that they do, through their connections, through their passion and advocacy, that allows it to become more of a movement. Mm-hmm. And so community-led growth in a nutshell is this group of people being the thing that pulls the project, the organization forward.
That's great. How do you think, and just going off track here, because obviously I like chatting about this. How do you think our members, our community members, feel like they're belonging to something like a community-led program? Tough question.
I think it really depends. I'm curious for folks in the room here, how many of you feel like you're part of the no-code community or AI community?
I see somebody shaking their heads. Come and talk to us after.
How many of you feel like you would identify yourself as like a no-code or AI professional? And how many of you would identify more as like a hobbyist or enthusiast? Okay. So this is the other interesting thing, is that it really comes down to the person. And within a broader community, you can have these sub-communities, these subgroups, who are all still part of that broader community, but there is something else that pulls them together. And so the question of how do you identify as a member, it comes down to whether or not you feel like you are part of that group. There's something there.
Yeah, I love that. And hopefully we're doing a good job at that, because we're trying to do a good job at that, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. Exactly. So I love that. And Max, I'm going over to you. You've built a platform for learning and growing with no-code and AI. How does the concept of community-led fit into your, work at 100 School?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. I think Andy kind of nailed it with the word momentum, because we see, and I'm going to kind of answer this through the lens of community as a nudge, as a vehicle for learning, and we find that there's probably even some of the most innovative organizations in the world, probably the most innovative organization in the world, OpenAI right now. They kind of are sharing these content buffets. So they recently released their kind of big, chunky LMS, which was essentially a breakdown of all the content of all the ways you could learn how to use ChatGPT. But the thing is, the problem with that is like a big content buffet, and you're not necessarily going to actually go through that content. So the way I kind of see community is it's really the difference maker between whether or not you actually transform yourself and actually apply the knowledge that is abundantly out there already. So Andy kind of hit the nail on the head with the word momentum, because for us it's all about taking content that's already there and then helping people build momentum towards actually going through it, using it, applying it, building confidence in their work, and then wanting to learn more stuff. So community really is the difference maker on that front for learning, I believe, and that is why all our programs at 100 School are momentum orientated rather than content buffets.
And it's all the amazing stories that come from that as well, isn't it? Like when you're running a successful program, it's really nice to see that journey of one of your members going, from learning a new technology, applying the technology, and then scaling up their career, which is really great. And that's the sort of like impact that we wish to have with our work. And Stan, going over to you, I know that your community has been growing quite a lot in the past few years. How to make sure that, going at such a big scale, you still maintain your community-led practice?
It was a bit hard at the beginning. Now it's like 15,000 of people on the Slack No Code France, with people like in the France, but also in Switzerland, Belgium, and Canada also a bit. And behind this big number, we have like kind of an NGO called No Code France 2, with like 300 of people who every day take time to moderate the Slack, go live on Twitch, do meetups. We have like 16 cities with meetup every month going over it. So the idea was really to have like a NGO, like without leaders, kind of, with people be able to empower themselves and to work on specific subject about the Slack. And we see that there is maybe this year less of people going into the NGO and to no-code space. We really get like in 2020 a big like number of people signing in. Now it's going like less than the year. Maybe there is like a seal of glass. No, you see, ma plafond de verre. Sorry, English is not my first language.
No, you're fine.
Ceiling of glass, okay. And the idea was really to let the people. But now I think that the No Code France community is more like a forum where people ask questions. And I think that the core of the community really go into the meetups. And like in Paris, every now 2 months, we have like 50 to 70 people gathering in a bar, chatting, coming also to event when we meet people, and etc. So I think that the idea with the community is to get the core into the meetup to chat, and maybe the Slack stay more like a forum where people get interaction. But I think that there is also a lot of people chatting to each other, connecting, working together. I don't know if we have like no-code lovers, or if there's one day no-code baby, maybe with I don't know if some people find themselves
I think
together.
your secret sauce is that French people know how to pull a party.
Yeah, no, and also French people don't know how to speak English.
I've been to a few.
Yeah, so because they don't know how to speak English, they stay together, because there was a space, because like Alexis from Contournement made the decision to open the Slack to No Code France at the beginning. It was a Slack de Contournement. It changed a lot, and because there was a place where together people joined, and we meet some friends, some family, and stuff like this inside of it.
I love that you mentioned ambassadors and just like people, hosting their own meetups. We're obviously trying to empower our own members. What do you think, having such a big community, what do you think motivates your members to, go the extra mile and host these events and just like feel that camaraderie? And
It's a really good question.
Genuinely curious.
I don't really know what's. I think it's the passion, I think, of No-Code, and maybe I think it's the will to meet people from your hometown that are doing the same stuff, or you can learn with them. I think that the beginning of it's been like 4 years, I think, that we do meetups in Paris. It was the first city where we done. It was 4 of us in a bar, then it goes back, etc. I think people need to speak, need to meet people, need to chat. I think a lot of people are freelancers, are staying like working alone, and it's good to have a place where you can go and speak no-code, and not always no-code. And you can meet people in real life, I think. I think COVID might help a lot. COVID was not a chance, it was a bad stuff. But I think it helped a lot at the beginning. We were doing like meetups online, and then it went to virtual. People need to meet. the no-code take a big space during COVID. So I think COVID empower a bit of no-code.
Brought people together, yeah. We host, regular events online, and but there's just something special when the community, comes together in real life. It's just like the real bond is created then. All right, let's talk about the cool stuff. AI, we're all here for it. It's a buzzword, but I actually want to know from you guys, how do you use AI to make your work easier, faster, stronger, better? Do you know that song, that tune? And how do you make sure that you don't lose your human touch, throughout the process? Because obviously we're working with community, we're working with people. AI is here to stay. We need to learn how to use it to our advantage. And so I'd like to hear from the experts. And maybe Max, I'm going to start from you, because obviously you've been teaching AI to thousands of people. And how do you make sure that we keep our human touch?
Yeah, it's a good question, because
Thank you. Came prepared.
It is a really tricky balance to find the nuance between trying to give yourself the opportunity to automate, but not automate too much, to the extent that you're essentially removing yourself from the process. Because for a lot of the work we do, so we run boot camps. Harold is right there, who runs all of our boot camps, and one of the big value adds that we bring is we're essentially like Peloton motivators to some extent, where the content and the technical challenges to some extent the first layer, but really the work happens when you're helping someone get through a challenge where they don't believe themselves that they can get through it. So that's where we want to put all our time and energy into helping them actually feel like they've got the confidence to execute on that challenge. So I think some of it's a mindset problem, and giving people the space to, or giving us the space to sort of nurture that confidence in people. And one of the perfect examples of using AI in community building that I think should be used more often is peer groups are one of the most valuable elements of community building. If you're running a boot camp, an online course, or just anything where you're trying to build momentum around a shared topic. And the nightmare, though, that comes with peer groups is they're really hard to actually match people based on skill level, industry, location, or something else. So that criteria is very matchable, but it's a nightmare to do in a spreadsheet. So there's one thing you can use AI to kind of do that for you, or do it to a degree where you're not sitting in an awful kind of 30-layered sort of spreadsheet, spending hours up at night trying to find the perfect match, because AI will find that for you. So that's just one use case that I would highly recommend using AI for, because even in our boot camps, we find that the content's great, but actually people say that they love the peer groups as one of the best parts of the program. So that can be applied to all learning experiences too.
We could use glides to create a matching app.
As you were describing that, I was just picturing in my head, okay, I'm going to start with this table.
Yeah.
We're going to add these AI steps.
I actually built it. I built an AI agent. Shout out to Andrew here from our AI agents team that does that. It matches our new community members with some of our mentors and ambassadors to show them the ropes of the community. But yeah, that's a very good use case. Andy?
I think that's a really good example, actually, of there's the term of human in the loop, right? Where for a workflow or a process, you're going to double check with a person at some point to make sure AI doesn't go off and do something crazy. And I would go a step further and say it's about you keep humans in control. That AI should never get ahead of the person. To me, the smart and responsible application of AI is there as an aid, it is as an assistant, so that if there is a process you already have, and it takes time and effort and resources, and it takes too long, that's usually the blocker for a lot of the things that we would like to do. And I'm sure a lot of us have things that we deal with in our day-to-day work that we just wish we could do maybe more of it, but it takes too much time. To me, that's where AI comes in, because it becomes that accelerant. At no point do I want to just let AI figure out on its own what to do. I still want to give it a path. Even if it's agentic, I want to give it a path. So at any point, I can step in as the human and add my own context and judgment and ethics and say, you know what, I'm going to intervene here. I'm providing the oversight and the control. And I think for a lot of the stuff that we build and a lot of the things that we might be thinking about with AI, potential solutions, we should keep that in mind. AI is here to assist, AI is here to accelerate, but we are still in control as the people managing these tools, because they are, at the end of the day, tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And Glide actually has been at the forefront of integrating AI into visual development. And so I wanted to ask you specifically, how do you think tools like Glide can further empower non-technical people?
We took a bit of a different approach from everybody else when we started looking at how to incorporate AI into our existing platform. The first pass for, I think, a lot of folks was, let's just put AI up front and let AI do all the building. We think it's still very, very important that as a human, you should be able to go in and manage and take over and control the things that AI creates. So instead, what we ended up doing was incorporating AI as part of the existing building block structure that we have. So computed columns and data, components in the visual layout editor, and then as steps in workflows. Do we want to get to a point where you can just prompt something into existence? Yes, but we want whatever gets generated for you to still be able to jump in and tweak and manage it without going like, I don't have no idea what this React code is because I am not a developer. We want you to still have control as the human. So that's the path we took.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And Stan, I know that you're very passionate about tools that make tech accessible to people. In terms of AI, do you think we should still treat it as a tool or as a coworker?
I think it depends, but I have a funny, maybe funny for me, but you will tell me if it's funny. Like at the beginning of the week, I was teaching a student how to use Glide, and when I showed them the AI component, they wouldn't learn Glide, and I was like asking the AI component to build like a button, or like to write some text, and I was like, you need to understand how to use the tool, and you cannot have to use the AI to build button, and sometimes it could be hard. Like I think for because I'm teaching a lot to young people. I'm not old, but young people, younger than me, and sometimes I think that because our life is going really fast, they didn't take the time to learn, to understand, and they always want everything to be instant. They use Lovable, and they didn't want to take time to understand how it's working, and when it's not working, they are mad. They didn't want to really use it. And for me personally, I try to don't depend about it, be able to still live my life and do stuff. But I think that it could be a good second brain. I think it could be usually I love to speak alone. Now I can speak alone and someone take me something else. So that's cool. And I think there is plenty of solution, when you be able to have a kind of, I'm gonna use the term, the word friends, but it's not a friend. You have someone, something that you can speak and have a lot of knowledge. I think it could be really interesting and have a lot of personal use about Claude, which is to speak about books they read or part of the books, and knowing that this is what is the different, what is the explanation of some stuff. And I think it's a good coworker. But I think that if your life depends on it, it's not a judgment. There is people who have a love relationship with AI and stuff like this. Well, you can do whatever you want.
Toxic relationships.
Yeah, 2025, you can do whatever you want. Yeah, but yeah, I think if it's content, everything is good.
Thank you. And just testing the room again. How many people here use automation, AI, no code at work? Okay, and keep your hand up if you use it every day. Okay, so, this is a clear testament. AI is here to stay, and as we all know. And because I know we've got 5 minutes left, I want to open up the floor for a few questions, if you have any. But we also wanted to leave you with one final thought, that in fact, AI is not here to replace, our jobs, or, we all agree on that. It's here to amplify the work that you're already doing. And all of you are here, you're professionals, you're attending a conference to grow and improve your practice, which is, the first amazing starting point. And so AI is just gonna amplify that passion and that professionalism you all share. So thank you. Thank you for looking after yourselves and for being, amazing people as well.